Okay, we made it through the middle game. You didn't necessarily find any tactical mating pattern, but you just brute force won in material. You got so far ahead. Now we've made it to the end game. The end game I've heard defined as when over half the pieces have been taken off the board, but it basically gets down to there's only a few pieces left, and it seems pretty clear that one side is ahead. Later on, your endgame might consist more of very close pawn races to the edge of the board to promote a queen, and typically, whoever promotes into a queen first wins. But right now, we're going to look at something different. Now, I've been trying throughout this course to give you the beginner side and then what you need to study to progress from there. Endgames are a little different because there's so few pieces on the board. You can really break down every possible endgame and the few tricks that go into each one. So we're going to try to look at the common endgames that you'll see in beginner level games. I'm basing this off of a chess book called Silman's Complete Endgame Course. I'm only going to go over the first two sections because these are the ones you'll most likely see as a beginner. Now, if there's a lot of demand for it, I'm more than happy to make videos for the rest of the book. Or if you like learning by a book, you can probably find it at your library or somewhere online yourself. So first we're going to start with one side has way more material than the other side. You see here, one side has two extra queens. Now a checkmate here should be very easy, and you'll even see the analysis bar shows a mate in two. You could find that, and obviously that's great, but we're just going to look at the consistent idea behind a staircase checkmate. Now, the idea behind a staircase checkmate is you have two pieces that take up a solid row. So we're going to look at two queens, a queen and a rook, or two rooks. And you're just going to move these two lines together so that the king has nowhere to go. You push it to the edge of the board, and then it is checkmated. So if you move to check the king, I did it again. Move to check the king here. Now it doesn't matter which way the king goes. We see this full line coming here from the queen. So the king should always try to move to the center of the board to get away from the edge, away from being checkmated so easily. But now we're able to, we know this line exists already. And now we've created this line here. So this king is getting closer and closer to being trapped. And all we have to do, now we have these lines, and just keep forcing him to the edge of the board. And once we make it here, we have both these lines, and he doesn't have a third line, a third rank to move to because he's trapped on the edge of the board, and that's checkmate. Now, if we try this again, but with a rook instead of a second queen, the idea is similar, except here, your rook can be taken. For instance, if you're attacking the king, or you're pressuring the king with your queen like this, you never have to worry about your queen, because the king can never move towards the queen. The queen has all these squares. But if you're trying to pressure the king with your rook, you could lose the rook. So that's the only real difference, is that you have to be careful. But other than that, the concept is still going to be fairly similar. You're going to try to push the king to the edge of the board and use the staircase. But see here, you attack the king with your rook. The king moves here, you have to be careful now about losing your rook. So in a case like this, you may simply choose to defend your rook, and you're going to force this king to move because it's his turn. You have all the power. You don't always have to attack the enemy's pieces every turn. If you know they're in a bad place and they have no good moves, then you can simply force them to make do a waiting move that doesn't hurt your position and forces them into something that does hurt them. So now here the king does not want to go to the edge of the board, so he'll likely move here, staying as far away from this edge as possible. And you can continue this pattern. You know you have this line, and now you have this one as well. So he may attack your rook, and you can do the same thing. You can just protect him and make their king make another move. Now if he does go somewhere like this, trying to stay close to your rook, you can, well, in this case the king is defending this square, so the rook could go there anyway, but we'll pretend the king's over here. Well, then you simply take this file with your queen and ensure that the king has nowhere to go. So now we have this, the rook box is off here and the queen box is off here. This is important too, thinking about the geometry of your pieces and which squares are safe for the enemy king. Now again, the king does not want to be trapped here because the game will soon be over, so he stays out as much as he can. But now, well actually, let's say the king moves here so that you can't, I wanted to take this file with my rook, but now their king is attacking the square, so I can't. But again, I can do a waiting move. He stays out, we attack again, he comes here, and we'll take this, and now he has to move. This is blocked, these are blocked, he has to move here, and again, either piece moving to this H file, or I could take my own piece on accident like I like to do. Either piece moving here, again, we have this nice staircase where we moved both our pieces and we take both complete files. This king is completely trapped and has nowhere to go. And the concept is exactly the same if you have a rook, two rooks, I'm sorry, instead of a queen. You can simply move these pieces up the board, trapping the king and forcing him to keep moving. Of course, the king, he won't just go straight. He will go at an angle to come towards your rook. Let's say we were like this. And as I move up, instead of just moving straight up the middle, he's going to move towards your piece. So that if you moved here to keep pushing him, he would just take your rook. So in this case, again, you can do a waiting move and you can bring your rook all the way to the other side. Your rooks can move so much further than the enemy king. So now he's again going to move towards you, but you can just resume your attack. Now again, you have to do a waiting move and run all the way to the other side of the board. He may go here because if he goes to D8, you'll have your staircase again here at A8. So again, you just swing your rook all the way to the other side. The king cannot catch you and stop you, and you move here, and you have your nice checkmate. The king has no available squares.